I put this up here because I wanted to show you how this idea of white supremacy is also a part of the iconography that many of us have been exposed to that we may not even take into consideration. Where when you look at the dynamics between good and evil, good is usually classified or defined as what color? I mean, angel food cake is white. What color is devil's food cake? Right? Now some people, oh yeah, whatever. But all of that is symbolism, right? You look at the definition of black, it's sullen, it's dirty, it's evil. White is benevolent. All of these various different things that are always associated with the color white, right? And when you get down into religion, you see the exact same thing. When you look through the Bible, tell me the name of one black prophet. You go to a Christian school right now. Tell me the name of one black prophet or one black person in the Bible.
Wasn't Samson one or something?
Okay, Samson, we could say because he definitely had locks, right? But typically, you can go through a whole religious experience and never see yourself. If you look like me, right? And you think about religion being introduced to enslaved people, they were also introduced to an iconography or an image or an idea of these same enslavers as being the images and the representations of God, right?
Well, one thing I always found conflicting, speaking of the Bible, is when John encountered Jesus, God, he described him as, hair like wool, which would be like ours. When I say ours, somebody with my texture, feet like bread, which would be this kind of color. And I'm like, if that's how he described it, why do we do this?
I think it goes back to the point that he made and what she made as well in terms of controlling the narrative. You can make it look like whatever way you want, and that's ultimately what history is too. It's not her story. So just as women, there's a lot of things that you will not know about yourself if you just rely solely on somebody else telling your story and controlling that narrative. And you're subjected to experiencing an inferiority complex because all of the images of power, all of the images of benevolence, all of the images of control, all of those images are shaped in the image of a man. So if you're internalizing that all the time as a woman, you may not have the healthiest perspective of how you see yourself. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So America's only 248 years old. That's very young. I've showed y'all this slide before, and I'm going to repeat it again. If you look at the birth of this nation, keep in mind that there was already enslavement on this land before the country started, for 5 generations. When the country started in 1776, from that time period to 1863, you have 89 years of legal slavery on this land. And then you had domestic terrorism and segregation from 1863 all the way to 1965, which is 102 years. So if you combine that, 189 years of this country existing for 248 years, that's 76.5% of the time America has existed. People of African descent were legally denied full citizenship, access to resources, institutions, and restricted from participating in American society. I know some of you like to feel proud about Beyonce and Jay-Z being billionaires, and Rihanna and everybody else, but they do not reflect the masses of people who are classified as people of African descent in this country.
Well, you could also argue, like, even after 1965, African Americans were still denied full access to America's institutions because of things like redlining and police brutality, which like prevented African Americans from being able to like build generational wealth.
Absolutely.
Which like a lot of other people have access to.
Yeah. And those things continue on. I just simply stopped at 1965 because that's where you have the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. So I just made a hard stop there. But yeah, you could definitely argue past that time period, you still have policies being implemented on a federal level, on a state level, on a local level, that denies people of African descent and others, right, that access to citizenry, resources, institutions, and everything else.